You don't expect a legend to confess. You expect a victory lap. But when Lionel Richie finally opened the boxes he'd avoided for years and began writing his memoir in 2025, what came out wasn't celebration. It was truth. Quiet, heavy truth. The kind that settles in your chest. You know the songs. Hello, Endless Love. Music that soundtracked weddings and slow dances. But what you never saw was the silence after the lights went down. One night backstage, his voice simply didn't answer him. Not pain, just air. Doctors started using words like scar tissue and surgery. For a man whose identity lived in his throat, that wasn't a medical issue. That felt like an ending. And it arrived during a perfect storm. His marriage was collapsing in public. Headlines turned private grief into entertainment. Or he writes that the hardest part wasn't the legal process. It was waking up alone in a house that used to breathe with family. Fame still followed him. Smiles for cameras still came. But inside, he entered what he now calls the fog. Not dramatic, just heavy. Days when answering the phone felt exhausting. Nights when applause didn't reach him anymore. He didn't call it depression back then. Most men of his generation didn't. He just worked harder. That's what you do when you're Lionel Richie. But the pressure was relentless. Stay relevant. Stay romantic. Stay legendary. Walk into studios with producers half your age and wonder quietly if the world had already moved on. Then came surgery. Weeks of silence. No humming. No casual melodies around the house. Just waiting. Healing. Relearning patience. Despite that forced stillness cracked something open. He writes about realizing he'd confused providing with being present. About watching his children absorb more than he ever said out loud. About how success, no matter how big, protects nothing. Divorce taught him that. Losing family moments taught him that. Sitting alone in a parked car after doctor appointments taught him that. The comeback didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived one clean note at a time. He stopped trying to sound like 1985. He accepted the voice he had now. That acceptance changed everything. Then life tested him again. Public scrutiny. Emotional fatigue. The fear of becoming irrelevant. And slowly, something shifted. He started choosing connection over volume. Balance over momentum. He learned that the stage doesn't save you. People do. Writing the book meant facing all of it. The near loss of his voice, the marriages that didn't last, the years when he felt surrounded but unseen. He doesn't blame. He reflects. He admits he almost walked away, not because he couldn't sing, but because he wasn't sure he still wanted to. Here's the lesson he leaves you with. Without preaching, you can survive fame and still lose yourself. You can lose everything and still rebuild. And sometimes the bravest thing isn't hitting the high note. It's standing still long enough to hear who you've become. Lionel Richie didn't fade. He recalibrated. And that might be the strongest note he's ever held.